So she wrote a book, and so I have no idea what the book is supposed to be about. But I read the other day, maybe it was yesterday, maybe it's today. It's today, actually. It's today that she's heading to California. But there's no word yet on whether or not she will meet with Harry and Meghan. But the plot thickens. The plot thickens. And so I've been wondering whether or not Fergie and Andrew are team Meghan and Harry in this experience. By necessity, you see, their alliances may not necessarily be born from true affection, although who knows, maybe it is, but more from sort of strategic necessity. So she's written a new novel called A Most Intriguing Lady, and she is filming for the Kelly Clarkson show today. March 2nd is Thursday, March 2nd in California, which is intriguing. And because, I mean, for me, it's hard for me to imagine she'd go that far, come across the pond, right in California, and she doesn't meet up with Harry. But, who knows? I mean, the royal family is strange. Um, she will also be at the 92nd Street Y on Monday, March 6th. March 6th, yes, to discuss her book. And my question is, are they by necessity going to align themselves? When I say they, I mean Prince Andrew and Fergie. Are they going to align themselves with Meghan and Harry? Because, with them being thrown out of their home in Royal Lodge and being forced to accept this very modest Frogmore cottage. I mean, the horror. Do you think that Fergie and Andrew are upset enough that conceivably they are now team Harry and Meghan? I think if that were to happen, it would be very, very interesting on a lot of different levels, strategically speaking. I do think if in fact it's true that Andrew is being evicted, because Sarah lives with Andrew, as you know, or you may not know, but I think that's what I've heard. So if in fact it's true that Sarah and Andrew are being kicked out of Royal Lodge, which has been their home for a very long time, and are being forced to accept Frogmore Cottage, which is very froggy. It's very froggy. It's not very, just, for someone, I love architecture. I love looking at homes and houses and stuff. And there's nothing on Frogmore Cottage that would make me go, ooh la la. You know what I mean? It is, to me, one of the most unsexy pieces of real estate that I have ever seen in modern times. It is completely boring. It lacks any kind of wow factor. And, I don't know what Royal Lodge looks like, but I would imagine that it is much, much sexier than Frogmore Cottage. And so the idea that Fergie is expected to slum, and I do ask your forgiveness because I'm so uncomfortable with this kind of um, I don't like to say these kinds of things, but if she's expected to slum in Frogmore Cottage after living the posh life in Royal Lodge, then it shouldn't come as a big surprise if she has changed alliances and if she is now Team Harry and Meghan. Also, I think that, knowing which side your bread is buttered is important too, because, I think that if in fact Charles has thrown Andrew out of Royal Lodge and into Frogmore Cottage, as I said in the video right before this one, it's a very dirty move, or two videos ago, actually. It's a very dirty move. And this move could expose Andrew to the wrath of the public, the disdain, the hatred, the harassment of the public, because it is so public and it's so wrong. I mean, he's an accused, sexual offender, if you will, and alleged. I don't know. I wasn't there. I'm not accusing him of a darn thing. I don't know. But he's being accused or has been accused. And so now, you're putting him even more in the spotlight by doing this, by forcing him into a smaller house, a house that was occupied by two people who are sort of notorious in England at this point. I mean, with for lack of a better word, sorry, Meghan and Harry, but it is what it is. So you're exposing him to this, and it's like fire. You're throwing him in there. You're pouring kerosene, you know, on the property, and you're basically lighting a match, right? That's what you're doing. You're setting Andrew on fire, and I think that if that's the case, and if that's how Sarah likewise perceives what they have done to her husband, because make no mistake about it, I don't see how Sarah and Andrew have been living in the same house for this long without boinking. But I mean, if it's a 30-room house, it's possible. But I think they boink. I think they boink. But that's just my opinion. Maybe not, but I think they boink. Boink. And so they boink, and you're throwing her into Frogmore to boink in a less sort of like posh endroit. I mean, don't be surprised if her alliances and her loyalties change, and that she now aligns herself with Harry and Meghan. And I think that with that kind of alliance brewing, I don't like this idea of equating Harry with Andrew under these circumstances. But again, these are allegations, and I don't know that Andrew did anything. I wasn't there. I was not a witness. I just don't know. I mean, I know that, a lot of these young yacht girls, they make a lot of money by, going onto these yachts and, flirting and whatever. And so I don't know who this woman is. I don't know anything. I'm not making any allegations. I'm not making any excuses. I'm just saying that these are allegations against Andrew. And so I don't like him being sort of equated with Harry, just because Harry married this beautiful woman who, has a couple of spoonfuls of African DNA in her blood. At the same time, voila. So, if Fergie is changing her alliances and she's now aligning with Meghan and Harry, that's important, and that could be a good thing, because as much as they are sort of different, I mean, they are similar in the fact that they're both being cast out of the family. And the question then becomes, who's really behind this? Is this really Charles, or is this Camilla? And if this is Camilla, what are her intentions? What is she trying to accomplish by breaking up this family and casting people onto the streets from this family? And who's next? I mean, first we have Fergie, and we have Meghan and Harry, then we have Fergie and Andrew, and Beatrice and and Eugenie. And then what? I mean, is Anne safe? Are Anne's children safe? For how long? It is a question mark, and this could really be the beginning of some very dramatic occurrences in the British royal family and in the British monarchy, because I think that we are seeing the beginning of potentially something dramatic happening in this family, because it's going to be more than just Meghan and Harry, you know. And so I think that, Meghan and Harry need to be careful in terms of who they trust. But I do think that it's interesting that, and I think Sarah said something about how beautiful Harry and Meghan's children are and how Diana would have been proud. And she also was careful to say William's children are too, because I don't even know that William is really as safe as he thinks he is. William is not as safe as he thinks he is. And can you imagine a situation where William and Harry reconciled because of necessity, along with Fergie and Andrew, because really the biggest fish to cast out of the ocean is William. And is he safe in this ocean, right? And is this an alliance brewing with the Sussexes and with the Duke and Duchess of York? And who's next? You see, this is huge stuff. Huge.